What's up, everybody? This is Jay, and this is Empire Season 5, Episode 13 recap for Hot Blood, Hot Thoughts, and Hot Deeds. I want to thank all my big supporters that support my work at patreon.com/Jaymoorereviews. Without your support, I wouldn't continue to do this. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like, and let's get into it. Now, when the video comes on, we hear the music playing, and they all jamming. You got Angie Martinez. She's like, wow, this is great. You guys, you must have squashed all the beef and everything. And they're like, what? Girl, come on. Ain't no beef. And then Cookie like, girl, ain't no beef. These girls is like sisters. And this type of music is more what you gonna hear on the Trust Tour. She said, well, that's crazy. You call it the Trust Tour because it seemed like you lost a lot of trust. And she said, what you talking about? Everybody, we know what we gonna do here. Everybody believed in them. And then they go to flashback, Kelly Patel and Giselle. Everybody is against it and not believing it's gonna work. And then, Lucious is trying to get it to going, and she like, what we gonna do here for the Empire Trust Tour is bring all this back. She said, well, it's crazy you call it trust since, you guys had that data mining scandal. And she like, well, look, these two girls is like sisters, and they gonna bring us back. And as far as trust, everybody know that this is what Empire is all about. And they show him negotiating with Tiana, beautiful self, talking about go on tour with Treasure. She like, what? I'm not gonna be headlining with Treasure. And then Treasure, they talking to her. She like, yeah, I'll do it, but I want my own set. I don't want to just be with Tiana and Cookie. Like, girl, you just got on the scene a minute ago. Lucious like, okay, deal. And Cookie looking all upside his head, all every old kind of way. Like, what? He like, her singles blowing up. I don't want to leave money on the table. And so then they got back to Giselle, and she's negotiating with Blake, aka young Tom Hanks. And he like, man, I don't know. Me on tour with Hakeem and Tiana is trouble. It's go left. She's like, oh, it could go right. Give you time to stake your claim since he'll be shooting videos. And then next thing you know, he's signing on the dotted line. Her and Portia is giving each other little daps behind the scenes. And then they show Carlito Brigante. And so he like, let me put some real flavor on there. And she like, oh, is that right? He like, yeah. And so then they give him the pen to sign. They like, okay, let's see what you got, Carlito Brigante. And meanwhile, while he's signing, they dapping up again like they just bosses. Meanwhile, Cookie is like, look, we know it's the Trust Tour, and to tell you something, everything right here, we know we need to bring this back, and that we need our fans. And so I want to let you all know that everything about this Trust Tour is going to be completely free. Angie like, what? And she said, yeah, everything is going to be free, and it's for you, the fans, because we need y'all. Meanwhile, we see Andre with Terry, and they all holding hands in the doctor's office. The doctor come in, and so they talk, and the doctor's telling them about his situation with the stage 4 cancer. And then so he's looking worried, and then they saying, look, we got this round of medicine for you that can help you slow down the cancer. He like, so I'll be cured? They like, no, but it can help stop it in its tracks. And she say, isn't this called the angel and the devil? And she said, yeah, it's the angel and the devil because of the side effects. So although it does help, it can also make you weak and put a lot of hurt on you. And so Andre, that frown, that smile turned upside down to a frown. And so now the doctor, he like, so will I be cured? And the doctor like, well, we can't say that for sure. And stage 4, if people know, is pretty much the last stage you get. Meanwhile, at Empire, we see thirsty young Cosby, and he looking worried, and so he's coming to see Lucious. And meanwhile, thirsty, he's sweating like a hoe in church, and he telling him, man, I need to talk to you. He like, what's going on? He said, look, the feds had me in for questioning about Damon Cross, and they'll take you down to get to him. And so now Lucious is worried. Now he's starting to think hard. Goes to see Cookie and Giselle, and he said, thirsty lied to the feds about what happened with Damon Cross, and so we need to get rid of all ties with Cross. And then Giselle like, yeah, you know what, Lucious right, because the feds will hold our money up together. He said, yeah. And then Cookie like, so wait a minute, Thirsty lying to the feds? He like, well, would you rather have told the truth? And she like, yeah, he's got a point there, Cookie. He's like, look, we need to scrub all ties to Damon Cross. I rerouted our money back to a non-profit I set up. She like, the charity you set up in my name that's supposed to tie our legacy together? That's what you did? Are you crazy? You done tied our name back into the mud again. He like, well, Cookie, what did you expect me to do? We have to get rid of all ties. I got a man going to Panama to scrub it, and also to go there personally. Giselle like, let me get out of here. He like, sit your ass down. You're directly tied into this just as much as we are. And so she sat down real quick. He like, Cookie, I didn't have a choice. We have to get all our ties away from Damon as soon as possible. He said, that's why I got a call from Panama people meddling in my business. Now Lucious looking shocked. He like, what are you all doing? The first call you should have made is to call me. What you're doing is a sloppy job, and it's going to bring back. And then one of his security guard, waterhead exec, came, and he was like, what is this? He like, look, don't come into my office at my house and you trying to run and call shots. He like, what you should have did is you came to me, and we could have made sure that all of this was cleaned up properly. But Giselle getting turned on by his being authoritative. And he like, look, what are you saying? He said, look, I'm going to make sure that everything is done, and I'll make sure that everything is covered up properly. We'll need to retrace your steps that you took in Panama. I ain't going back to Panama with you, boy. And he said, no, this can be done over the phone, okay? And we'll make sure that all of this history is scrubbed properly. And so when he leave, the little bald head security was in the way, and so he was about to have a meeting of the minds. He gave Lucious the look, and he said, so what's up with this? And Lucious gave him a nod. He said, you got 24 hours. And so he walks out, and then Giselle like, now that there is a man. He said, you already got one husband in the urn. What do you want, matching sets? And then she shut up real quick. And so then he said, look, we need to make sure all of this is taken care of and all the ties are erased. And meanwhile, Cookie pissed, and she walk off mad. And he like, Cook, what do you want me to do? I didn't know this. And so meanwhile, back at Empire's offices, we see Cookie stressed out. And then here come Portia talking about, look right here, this Hello Beautiful, she got 10 million subscribers. She like, I don't want to hear this. She like, even Oprah follow her, okay? You need to watch this. And so then she looking at Hey Beautiful or whatever. She like, look at here, we looking at Empire and the trust tour, more like distrust and no trust at all. She like, what is this? This is what you got me watching? She like, girl, this is gonna be a mess, a hot mess, this tour. And so meanwhile, Tiana watching it, and she's like, what? This is crazy. Who wouldn't pay for this? And she like, look like somebody know the truth. And meanwhile, Carlito like, hey, I'll pay for that, ma. And so then, Tiana try to play him to the side like, ugh. Meanwhile, we see Portia as the tour manager getting everybody in line, and she like, okay, now everybody, we need to get everybody in order and everybody on this bus or that bus. Meanwhile, we see Jamal looking at his text, and then Winter Soldier takes his phone like, oh my goodness, what is this? You're stalking your ex's ex IG? What? You need to move on, Jamal. What you need to do is find someone else to get under. And she gives it to Maya, and Maya's checking it out, and Maya's like, oh, okay, well, I see this. You're looking at this. And he like, look, I don't need this, okay? I'm not checking this stuff out. I'm not trying to find nobody new. Meanwhile, we see Portia, and she's trying to get everybody together. He like, where's Hakeem? And she like, he in his own bus. Blake tried to holler, talking about, oh, okay, so Hakeem got his own bus, but you don't. And then we see Carlito try to holler. He like, hey, yeah, all you got to do is say the word, and I'll drop him for you. She says, oh, my knight in shining armor. He says, yeah, that's right, your white knight. That's right, your white knight. And so then while they was talking, and she was flirting a little bit with him, next thing you know, Maya steps in and says, oh, okay, you two are just who I was looking for. Yes, I was thinking, looking at it, you're a dancer. We should have you dancing, and you two would be a couple. You could do this. It would look so cute. And she says, tell me this. If you're Jamal's assistant, what are you doing over here talking to me? Boo, bye. And then she just shuts her down, walks off. And meanwhile, Maya's looking stupid right there, all on her lonesome. Meanwhile, we see Cookie, and she's looking at the Panama info, and it's from Damon. And so she's all thinking about what happened and starting to reminisce about that little dance they had or whatever with the Latin lover. And so while she's looking, next thing you know, Giselle comes behind her, so she closes it real quick. She like, but Damon's something else, ain't he? I'm gonna make sure we invite him over to the party, to the trust tour, and I'm gonna bring him over here, and I'll personally pick him up, and maybe I have a little couple rounds of dance or whatever, maybe one or maybe even two. Ooh, hee hee. And so she all turned on and whatever, thinking about how she might get that vitamin D. Meanwhile, we see on the road, Carlito, he trying to shoot his shot at Tiana, and I mean, it's understandable as fine as she is, and then she pretty much plays him to the left, swipes left on him, and so he's still trying to smile or whatever. And so then meanwhile, she like, you see this right here, this is a gentleman, okay? And so he like, well, hey man, Blakey, he cool, but I mean, you know, maybe that ain't what you need. And then she walk off, and she talking to Portia like, man, you believe this fool trying to holler? She like, well, I don't know, it's been a while, maybe you need them cobwebs knocked off. And she like, girl, please. Meanwhile, Carlito moved on to the next one. He trying to holler at Treasure. She just rolled up a nice little blunt too. She like, look at this fool. And so meanwhile, we see Cookie, and she done fell asleep over here while she was looking at the laptop footage of her dance with the devil in the pale moonlight. And so she's starting to think and visualize and daydream about what they could have did into that elevator. And so he comes on in, that waterhead barely fit through the door. And so she like, come here, let me help you relax. And she start taking off his jacket, and she like, ooh, yeah, baby, what's up? And so they looking and gazing into each other's eyes, and she pull his jacket down, and next thing you know, they cut to her now, and she got her lips all poked out, trying to like she kissing or whatever. And then Lucious wake her up, and she snapped to reality, and he like, Cookie, what's going on? You still mad at me about that charity thing? Excuse me, it was a one-time thing. And what's this with Damon Cross? Why we gotta take him to Philly? We need to get to the limo. She said, well, you know what? It's always a one-time thing with you. The first time. Come on, let's go. And so now he's sitting there thinking and looking stupid. Meanwhile, we get to the tour, and all these people outside ready for him. Hakeem come, he all in front of the cameras taking pictures. We see Tiana come looking beautiful in front of the pictures, and all the fans trying to take pictures. Then Carlito come, and then this one cute little fan with suckers in her hair, he takes it, he signs her boobie, takes the sucker, suck on it real good, and then they give her the eye. Meanwhile, Jamal, he comes out signing autographs for people with Winter Soldier. And then when he's going into the building, one of the guys like, ooh, Jamal, I'm one of your biggest fans. And she says, oh, how big of a fan are you? And he says, well, thanks, I appreciate it, but no thanks. And he walks inside, giving Winter the look like, come on now, stop trying to get me some vitamin D. Meanwhile, the backup dancers is getting their little poop poses in place or whatever. And so Blake is like, where's Carlito? I ain't seen him. And so we see Lucious and Cookie, and they saying, all right, everybody, remember, this is the dress rehearsal. Out there is all of the VIPs and money men. So act like this is the only performance, and you go out there and kill it. And then so we see Cookie co-signing, and Treasure like, okay, cool, I'm golden, I am ready. And then her manager says, well, that is what I like to hear. And so everybody stops what they saying and look, and then he says, yeah, although you pack a good right hook, that's not the proper way to void a contract. And if I don't get what I'm owed, then sorry to say, but Treasure's next tour date will be in the courtroom. And she's like, oh no, Joe, you can't do that to me. And he says, no, it's for you, honey, for you, while he rubbing all on her face. And Tiana getting grossed out at the even sight of that. And so Cookie said, oh, an extortionist manager. Okay, we know how to deal with you. And so she's getting ready to walk off, and then she tells Lucious, remember, the feds is watching. And so she leaves, and she tell him, you know, he ain't worth a damn. And then Lucious and him start talking. He say, okay, how about I give you 20,000 and a contract saying that you leave her alone. He says 30,000. And then Lucious is sitting there thinking about it, basically gonna agree. Meanwhile, we see Andre coming home with Terry, and he's reading the pamphlet about what's going on with his disease and chemo, and he's saying it seems like I might be able to pull through and everything may be okay. And she says, I hope so, Andre. And then she's saying, oh well. Next thing you know, he get a phone call and he's saying, oh well, this is my pops. And he picks it up, and he's saying, yeah. So he's getting info to bring the 30,000 to Treasure's manager. And she says, what are you doing? You can't go and do this. You are sick. You have poison in your body. You need to get rest. He says, look, Empire needs me, and I gotta help them. And she say, if your family knew how sick you were, then they wouldn't ask you. He said, but my family's not gonna know. I gotta go. And then he breaks down sick, coughing and gagging, and she helps him get in bed. Meanwhile, in Philadelphia, we see the tour getting ready to kick off, and Blake, young Hanks, is still looking for him. And she's saying, where's Carlito? And she say, look, you need to go on stage. It's your time. And so he goes on stage and starts performing. He's doing his little rap or whatever. We got Treasure, Tiana out there. Then the lights start malfunctioning. And she said, what's going on with these lights, this cheap ass hotel, this then? So meanwhile, Treasure's trying to perform, and I guess she can't see, and she goes to the edge of the stage and fall off. And one of the girls try to help her, but grabs her My Little Pony and pulls it off. And so everybody's looking at her laughing while she on the floor. She trying to get up, hurt her little ankle or whatever. And so Cookie like, go ahead, girl, get up, dust yourself off. Tiana half laughing, and the security, everybody laughs, so she embarrassed and she runs off out of the building. And Cookie like, Treasure, no. And so everybody laughing. They like, hey, Tiana, she's so sexy. She's just smiling. Meanwhile, Hey Beautiful on YouTube is laughing at her. That was funny. I could watch that again and again. Look at this move right here. And so she talking about, look at Hakeem, he dating the help. And we see Treasure and Tiana, and they dancing, and Tiana has got a little groove on, and then Treasure with the final thing gave us a gift. I could watch it for all day long. And Treasure sitting there watching Hey Beautiful make fun of her, and she on the tour bus crying or whatever. And so Lucious come on, look here, man, it's okay. You gonna be all right. She said, I'm a fraud. I'm a fake. I can't do it. He said, look here, I ain't in the business of producing frauds and fakes. And she said, but you never went through anything like this. He said, you kidding? I was young. I had my own sound, man. I was trying to make it, man. And then nobody would help me. I went out there and I wasn't sure about myself. But you know what? I had the music in me. And that's the same thing you have. A diamond ain't nothing but a piece of coal that's been put under pressure. Without that pressure, we wouldn't have Treasure. Did I just say that, man? I just said Treasure, man. Go ahead, you gonna be all right, girl. And so she feeling a little better. While back in Philly, Carlito is like, hey man, I stay sober for this, man. And Tiana says, well, good for you. And then Jamal's talking to Winter, and she says, so was you up all night with your fine? And then I'm sure you was. And he said, no, I was up all night with my hand. You so nasty. And anyway, hey, everybody, come here. Let's bring it all together. And so everybody comes on in. He said, look, everybody out there is waiting for us to fail, okay? And it's another half that's waiting for us to succeed. They waited all night for us. So let's just write a new chapter, and let's just make sure that we give them the best that we have, okay? So let's do this, everybody. And then Hakeem say, you're so beautiful. He said, no, that's it. I'm off the tour. Bye. And then everybody like, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Hey. And so meanwhile, the tour starts, and first off is Tiana and Treasure, and they come out. Tiana looking beautiful in a little outfit, and Treasure looking cute. They all singing and doing whatever. And Lucious and Cookie are all happy and impressed. And Damon and Giselle is looking all happy and looking entertained. And then Treasure run to the end of the stage like she gonna fall off, but then she put her hands up like, nope, psych. And so everybody everybody laughing. We see Tiana getting real freaky deaky all on Carlito Brigante. And meanwhile, Jamal comes out on his set, and he's getting ready to sing, and everybody like, Jamal, and he getting ready to start it off, but then the lights break down. And so then all these people starting to get a little antsy and stuff. Porsche getting upset, and he like, okay, everybody, shh, shh, let's bring it down. Everybody take out your phones and let's light this place up with your phones. And so everybody lights up the audience, the arena with the phones, and he gets ready to start thinking about what he had did with his little boot thing, and he was missing that waterhead shine. And so he was thinking about Kai and how he was crying and everything about getting married. And so he's like, all right, if you have somebody that you love, embrace them, bring them tight. And so then he gets ready to start singing, and then he breaks down and starts crying and getting emotional, and everybody like, oh, Jamal, we love you. And so then he's trying to wipe the tears off, and he's getting all moist inside. And so then next thing you know, Winter starts singing and saves the day. And so she sounds like a black woman when she sing, and so everybody is all happy. Cookie like, she saved it. And so she's singing as a duet with him, and now Cookie and everybody happy. Jamal, everybody, they saved the show. It sounded good. Meanwhile, Hey Beautiful on the internet, YouTube is like, look, I want to talk about this performance. I wanted to hate, but I want to say you did a great job. I love it. And so meanwhile, everybody's looking at how it all turned out, and she's talking all the good stuff about the show, and she's saying, good job, Jamal. Keep it up, and give him a little stank eye. Meanwhile, Winter throwing up a little pixie dust in the air, celebrating. Hakeem getting interviewed like, yeah, now you see, we did the damn thing. Carlito on the stage like, yeah, man, you know I come, we gonna make it. We gotta take control, and we gonna be in control of our own destiny. And then Tiana getting bubbly, and she like, is it me getting turned, or is he really talking good right now? And Blake trying to whisper sweet nothings in his ear and trying to spit game, and she like, you know what? You are so right. Hold that thought for a minute. And she walk over to Carlito, all in his video. Meanwhile, Maya, she come try to get all on Blake like, yeah, good job. It looks like she's liking you too. And so he's like trying to hear it. Meanwhile, Cookie walks over to get a drink right in front of Damon Cross. And that's all by design. And he like, so Cookie, that was a good show. And she like, oh, okay, where's Giselle? He said, you know what, Giselle's a lot of fun, but that was just business. She say, oh, is that right? He say, look, Cookie, like I said, you gonna have to come to me. And she walk off like, let me find my husband. Meanwhile, we see Lucious, and he on the phone. Look here, man. Yeah. And then Treasure, she comes in there, and she like, there you are. He say, oh, yeah, I just needed to cool off after that great performance. And she say, oh, thanks. You really believed in me when nobody else did. He said, well, look here. I just saw something in you that nobody else did. That's all. And you didn't see it yet. And she say, well, let me thank you for it. And she hops on his lap like, you know, he the Lone Ranger. And he like, wait, Treasure, hold on, this isn't right. You can't get off of me. And then Cookie opens the door. You dirty hoe. And he like, no, Cookie. She like, not again, not again. He like, no, Cookie, it's not that. And she walks off, runs off, closed the door, and he had to get on the good foot, hop on his peg leg, chase her down. Then she in the elevator crying and closing the elevator, and he didn't get to her in time. Meanwhile, we see young Tom Hanks, young Hanky Panky, coming up there, and he thought he was about to get his groove on. Little Hanky Panky, he was seeing Tiana, had a drink, then she was getting room service. Next thing you know, Carlito Brigante comes in half naked, kissing all over her, and he realized, boy, you moved too slow. That's some prime real estate you should have moved on. Meanwhile, Jamal is watching the 5 heartbeats with his chesticles hanging out in the hotel room. Somebody banging on the door. I said, go away. Who is this? And he opened the door. Then it's none other than his boo fang Kai. I saw the performance. He like, oh yeah. And next thing you know, they all tongue wrestling. Then we see Blake. He all drinking by his lonesome. And then Maya opens the door. So, you drinking by yourself? And then he says, well, I hope not. And then she backs up against the door like, well, hey, my door is always open for you. You know she like white meat anyway. And so then while they in there doing their thing, Cookie walk right past. And so Lucious, he get a phone call. He like, look, Andre, now's not the time. And then it's Terry. She say, look, it's Terry. Andre's really sick. He doesn't want to tell you, but he has stage 4 cancer. And so now Lucious is getting hit by both ends, Cookie and the news about his son. And she says he's really sick and he doesn't want you to know. I hate to be the one to tell you, but he really needs your support and your help. And so now Lucious is really hurt. Meanwhile, Cookie, she's starting to have flashbacks about all the things Lucious did, about divorcing her when she was in the prison, about Kingsley coming as his son in front of everybody, embarrassing her, and that even when he was getting with Boo Boo Kitty, beautiful little self, and then even when he had a conch in his hair, she even going all the way back to that, and now with Treasure. And so she's just heartbroken, and she goes to this door, and she knocks on the door, and it's none other than Waterhead Cross. And so he opens up the door, and next thing you know, she drops her damn fur on the floor like yeah, the kitty cat's out the bag, and he just smiled like, oh yeah. Meanwhile, we see Lucious, and he's in the alley, and he's just like real distraught and upset. And so we see Treasure's manager come. He say, man, that was a great performance, but your son didn't come with the money, and unfortunately Treasure stock has risen, so maybe 50,000 every month. And he put his hand on Lucious, and Lucious just go wild and just beat the hell out of him, throw him up against the wall, knock him down, smash his face repeatedly into the ground, and just stomp him, took off his foot and broke it off in his ass. And next thing you know, dude was just laid out, leaking, looking like one of the Walking Dead. And so Lucious, he leaves him dead in the alley like a piece of garbage. And so that's how that episode ended. Even though Lucious was being watched by the feds, he ain't have that much problem with breaking his other foot off in his ass. In the end, I think Cookie should have gave at least Lucious time to say what was going on instead of just running off as soon as she saw it. I hate that they're going to try to make them break up, and that as soon as that happened, she ran into the arms of another man. That was crazy. In the end, thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next episode. Peace, and I'm out.